Hey man, what you doing?
I'm trying to save some money on t-shirts online.
Well, don't you know, trying is the first step towards failure. You should just go to popthreads.com right now and use the discount code Simpsons so you can save 15% on all your t-shirt orders.
Ay caramba, these t-shirts are awesome. I just ordered the I choose you shirt.
Is there a picture of a train on it?
There is a picture of a train on it, and they have a bunch of other Simpsons shirts too, as well as current television shows and movies, all at popthreads.com.
So you should choose popthreads.com.
And remember to use that discount code Simpson so you can save 15% at checkout.
That's a lot of dough!
Hello again everyone, welcome back to the Best Darn Diddly Review Show. This is a weekly podcast for anyone who loves The Simpsons or ever has loved The Simpsons, hosted by two dudes who grew up on The Simpsons. My name is Miles, better known as MrMostDaysOff, and back again joining me this week, your co-host with the most, Richie the WizKid. How are you today, Rich?
I'm excited today, man. You say every week we have two great episodes today, or I will argue tooth and nail with you every week, but this week we have two excellent shows with us. I'm also excited because with our guests today, I think we're going to prove that Texas Rangers and Toronto Blue Jay fans can actually get along just fine. For now, I'll throw it back to you, the man, the myth, the Mattingly. It is Miles.
I would have lost so much money if I had the opportunity to bet with you starting with the olive branch on the baseball issue, frankly. So, but I'm glad to hear that you've come here showing signs of peace.
Yeah, we don't want no cheap shots around here.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Yeah.
Well, people forget before all this crap between the Rangers and the Blue Jays the last few years, Toronto actually loved the Rangers even 10 years ago for a very brief moment of time. There was a rain delay one day and it was in Toronto and all the Rangers went out on the field on the tarps and slid all over the field.
I remember
the fans were cheering them, and I think for the entire series, whenever the Rangers would first take the field, the fans in Toronto would cheer them. So people forget there were a lot of fun times before, but that's before either of the teams were doing anything.
Yes. Yeah, no, we weren't really playoff hungry teams back then.
Exactly.
We were more concerned about sliding around in the rain. Having a good time.
Well, let me introduce our guests. These guys are obviously baseball fans, and they're Wrassle Nerds. In fact, they are the Wrassle Nerds. Welcome to the show, Calvin and Goobs.
What's up? What's going on, everybody?
How's it going, folks?
We are super excited to be here.
We're really excited to have you guys, both of you. Let's start like we usually do with new guests. How about you guys tell us a little bit about yourselves, a little bit about what you do, and also your connection with The Simpsons?
Oh boy, well, first of all, we are, Ripkin and Goobs. We do the Goobs and Ripkin show. It's on YouTube. You can find us there, under our Wrassle Nerds channel. It's everything from what, Goobs, just normal episodes, shooting the shit about wrestling.
Shitty rap battles.
Little
skits.
We do our own commentary.
Hey, don't you guys call some random people every once in a while?
We do a lot of random wrestle calls.
You would know, sir.
I know there is one of those episodes I really liked. I can't remember who the guest was, but that was probably your best video.
Must have been the one with Toby from Secret Transpod.
That was a good one. And then, how our relationship to The Simpsons, well, oh my gosh, what is my relationship not to The Simpsons? You know, a lot of kids grew up learning from shows like The Magic School Bus and other educational programming, Mr. Dressup perhaps, but, me, I was sitting down with my dad, my older brother, I was watching The Simpsons every night, and it was, Bart, Homer, Lisa, Maggie, and Marge who taught me about life's, valuable lessons.
I'm along the same path, and they taught me my first swear I got in trouble for. I had the Simpsons Sings the Blues tape. You had to put in the tape cassette player, and I heard the word bitch on it.
Old school. What was the word?
Bitch.
Oh, nice.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, hey, just so you know, we don't actually curse on this show, so if you could try to watch it for here on out.
Unbelievable.
Okay. B-word.
You're not our buddy, guy.
You're not my guy, friend.
You're not my friend, buddy.
You know, something I wanted to talk about, I know another thing that we all have in common, even though Richie and I are Texan and you two are Canadian, this is something that brings us together, is the love of beer. And
of course.
For those of you, you guys drink on all of your shows, of course, me too, yeah.
It's beer.
Well,
oh dear.
Well, anyone who follows Stone Cold Steve Austin or listens to his podcast knows all about his IPA, the Broken Skull IPA from Segundo Ranch Brewery.
Yes.
They actually make a Ha Ha IPA that we've talked about here on the show before. It's based on Nelson from The Simpsons.
Get out of here.
And I was really trying. I was really seeing if it was possible that I could send you guys a couple of pints of those and that we could all experience that on the show together.
That would be phenomenal.
But when we spoke, we found out there were some laws that may hinder the transport of alcohol. Basically, I couldn't get it shipped to Canada was the issue. But I want to throw that out there. When that gets, or if that gets, more than likely, unfortunately, a lot of these craft beers never really make it big time.
Yeah.
But hopefully this one will, because it's the fucking Simpsons. And if it ever goes global, we need to get together and on a podcast, mine or yours, we need to drink that beer together for the first time and have that as an experience. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree.
I can get totally behind that. We're having Trailer Park Boys beers come up here at the end of the month too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, badass.
I'm still upset that Ha Ha isn't a double IPA. It just seems like a natural fit to me.
Very true, yeah.
But let's go ahead and talk about something that does bring us together today.
Yes.
And that is one of the best episodes of The Simpsons
Hands down.
ever. And I'm not even hesitant to say that.
No.
This is Homer at the Bat.
Yes.
Which debuted on February 20th, 1992. And of course, this title is based on the poem Casey at the Bat, which was written by Ernest Lawrence Thayer.
Correct, yeah. And let me just say right off the bat that Goobs and I feel like we've won the lottery here, the Best Darn Diddly Lottery, because off the bat, our first time on the show, and we have claimed what is, like you just said, one of the greatest Simpsons episodes, in 30 years of The Simpsons. So that's saying a lot.
Absolutely.
It's all downhill from here.
Well, much like baseball great Babe Ruth, you basically just pointed to it like 2.5 seasons ago. I'm talking to you guys and you're like, yeah, fuck your show. We don't really care about that. We just want to talk about Homer at the Bat. So I'm like, all right, I'll pencil you in. And sure enough, despite schedule changes and life happening, we've actually made it. We are here to talk about this great episode. The chalkboard gag for this one was, I will not aim for the head, which I, as a gamer, absolutely love because obviously, and honestly, I play kickball and that's my team strategy.
Exactly, yes. I just love that at some point, obviously Bart was sat down by Principal Skinner or Mrs. Krabappel and was basically told that, dude, come on, man. Aim for the stomach or something.
Shoulders are below, bro. Shoulders are below.
Yeah.
The couch gag for this one once again shows just how clever and above the rest Maggie is when all of the Simpsons except Maggie collide into each other as they're trying to get on the couch, which leaves the entirety of the cushion space to the magical one.
Didn't they all aim for the heads too in that part? I think they all collided heads.
I guess they
seemed like they all bumped heads or so. It was funny. It was simple. It was clever.
It was like a whole bunch of coconuts crushing together.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was intentional, the chalk gag being paired with the couch gag in that regard. That's really interesting. That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
The episode opens up with Homer eating donuts.
Naturally.
Donuts.
Fresh
just like
box.
it should, right? Yeah. Instantly, this episode starts out running strong because they immediately go into a gag where the guys all warn Homer that he's gonna choke. Sure enough, he does. And then when Lenny's like, oh no, Homer's choking again, as if this is something that happens on a regular basis, he goes to look for the help chart that would tell them what to do. And sure enough, he finds the Heimlich maneuver chart, but it just so happens to be right next to the softball tryout signups. And so he's like, woohoo! And Homer's instantly healed and he goes to sign up.
It's the way that they do that part though, like, the camera angle just shows the Heimlich maneuver, and Lenny's like, hey, look at this, a softball sign-up sheet, and then it pans to the right. Like it was brilliant, it was hilarious.
Absolutely.
So hilarious. Yeah. Homer instantly starts to recruit everybody to join the team. He's like, come on guys, it'll be fun. And Lenny's, I think, says something like, we were like 2-28 last season. So Homer's like, yeah, it wasn't our best season.
Yes, it was.
Like, yeah, actually Homer it was. Love that joke.
Yeah. I can relate to that on so many levels as a kid who grew up playing sports like soccer and stuff. We lost some games pretty terribly, but at the same time, they were the best games we had.
Yeah, it's all about, honestly, those are the memories you're gonna have, like those squash matches, regardless which way it goes. Those are the ones that are gonna stick out. That's why Nia Jax and Braun Strowman are doing so hot right now, because that's always...
Yeah. Is that made up people's names?
Pretty much, yes. They're both residents of Canada.
We don't want them, or at least one of them.
If they live up here, then we definitely know them. That's how things work here.
Yeah, we all know each other, buddy.
Yeah. They're all on that same road you mentioned earlier.
Yes, exactly.
We're all family.
Yeah.
Homer is able to convince everybody to go ahead and sign up when he tells them about his secret weapon. And they start to imagine a lot of really, really interesting things. Somebody thinks they have a giant mitt. Somebody thinks that they have spring shoes so he can hop from base to base. And then, I think it was Lenny again.
It's Lenny who goes right to the violence.
Oh yeah, the death ray.
Yeah, Lenny thinks he doesn't even
hesitate. He literally just starts disintegrating people. It's ridiculous, but also
Is that not the best secret weapon though? I mean,
it's true. That's a winning formula.
Yeah.
Look at Superman. He has laser eyes. He wins fucking everything, the bastard.
Totally OP. You're right. Well, Homer starts to go to work on the real secret weapon, which he starts to tell Bart the story of. I love that it all starts in a lightning storm.
Of course.
Homer was running around with sheet metal.
Yes.
And hid under the tallest tree.
In standard Homer fashion, yeah.
But if he wouldn't have done that, then he wouldn't have got to make the bat because he drew the lightning in and it broke the branch off for him. So, dumb luck.
Well, and we've talked about on this show before that Homer is unbreakable, and if he's aware of that fact, that he may have done this on purpose.
You think he's that smart? You think he's trying to add a little wood into the bedroom?
Well, hey, you know what? That's actually something we'll talk about in the next episode.
Yeah.
All the Homer snuggling skills.
Marge finally admitted what we've been thinking about.
Well, when lightning inevitably strikes this tree that he's under, it causes a limb to fall, and he knew right then that this limb was special.
That's dirty.
And he goes to work. That is dirty.
Sorry. I'll be an adult now.
No, you won't.
No, I won't.
Well, he immediately goes to work
with a special limb.
With the special limb, he immediately goes to work on the Wonder Bat, which there's some really great scenes while he's working on it. Two of my favorites. One Bart comes up to him, is like, "Hey, what is that? A bat?" And Homer's like, "No, son, this is a bat."
That one, man. Then he starts nailing all the fucking nails into the limb for no fucking reason whatsoever.
Like he's gonna fight a horde of zombies.
What was the blowtorch for?
I was gonna say, I think I made a bat in 8th grade in shop class with the wood lathe. Like, it was pretty easy.
Well, I hope you used the blowtorch properly.
No, we weren't allowed. After Jimmy lost his leg, we weren't allowed to anymore.
Wow. I also really dug the scene where Marge was like, "Come to bed, Homer." So he does, but he brings the bat with him and starts whittling it in bed. So finally she's like, "Go back to the garage, Homer."
Yeah, he's just sitting there with the lathe, just going back and forth in bed. Just the look on her face is just priceless.
She's getting all the shavings of wood in her hair.
She probably wanted to get it on as Marge Simpson. Come on.
Yeah, she wants that wood.
Homer was too busy playing with his own wood.
Yeah.
After all of this work, the Wonder Bat is born.
Yes.
And this is actually derivative of the movie The Natural,
Correct.
in which the character Roy Hobbs has the Wonder Boy. That movie's from 1984. I'm gonna fess up here, boys. I haven't seen it, even though I know it's supposed to be one of those you're supposed to see it.
It's definitely not one of those you're supposed to see at movies, but it's, if you like baseball, it's definitely a watchable movie, or if you like Robert Redford, it's a watchable movie.
It runs a little long, so you gotta sit down
yes.
and be ready for it. But yes, a lot of this episode feels like a direct reference to The Natural.
Yes.
With a twist.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Well, I still found it funny, but I must have missed a lot of these references. I did catch that one, however, thanks to the help of IMDb.
I'm just curious, Miles, did you know who any of the players were outside of Ken Griffey Jr. in this episode?
I did. Question. I recognize quite a few of the names. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I did not know all of them. I have them written down when we get to them later. Nice. But since you brought up the name, I think now is as good of a time as any to make a bold statement. I'm gonna say right here, right now, live on this show, there is no greater baseball video game in the history of the world than Ken Griffey Jr.'s baseball on the Super Nintendo.
Whoa. Hold up there, Mr. Miles. I beg to differ. There's a way better baseball game than Ken Griffey Jr. for Super Nintendo. It is Base Wars for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
What the fuck is, well, first of all, MrMostDaysOff to you, sir. And, second, and what the fuck is Base Wars? Is that some Canadian property?
Yeah, we go out there with hockey sticks and hit pucks around. No,
like Casey fucking Jones?
Base Wars is amazing. You're pretty much robots and you have, machine guns and saws and everything. And you play baseball, but like when you go for an out, you get to beat the shit out of each other until someone dies.
Well, this is Canadian. I used to play the shit out of, Mutant League Hockey. That sounds somewhat similar.
Yeah, Mutant Football
League. That's the greatest game to ever exist.
Dude, I haven't played that in a while. I kind of hope it holds up, but I remember as a kid I loved the fights in that because it kind of did this
still
Street
holds
Fighter
up,
style
bro.
thing.
Yeah, Ripken has it.
Oh,
it
do you
still
really?
holds up. I do.
Nice. I still have the Sega, but I do not have a copy of that game. I need to work on that.
It is hard to find. You'd have to go online, I think.
Or, just go up to Canada and ask somebody if you could borrow it.
They'd have to say yes.
Yeah, hey dude, Ripken, just drop that in the mail then. I'll get it back to you in a timely fashion, I promise.
I believe you. I'm so trusting.
Sounds like a good deal, eh?
On the topic of baseball games, I'd like to send a quick shout out to, it was, Super Baseball for the, Sega Master System or just Sega Baseball from like the 80s. That was a great baseball game, man.
I don't remember that one. I do remember playing RBI baseball on the NES.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's really honestly the only other one I remember playing in the early 8 and 16-bit eras.
Yeah, it was almost like back in the day, you couldn't really ruin a baseball game. There's actually a lot of good ones.
I still have Ken Griffey Jr. on the 64 and I play that still to this day, but it's not as fun as I remember the Super Nintendo version being.
That was a fun version. I'll give that to you. Base Wars is also a great game.
That sounds rad though. Yeah, I was gonna say, it kind of goes back to that fantasy with Homer, when he was talking about his secret weapon. And,
yes.
they had Lenny was like, oh, maybe he has a laser. That's what I thought of when you said like you had like weapons and stuff. I was like, oh wow, so Base Wars like kind of predicted or I guess Base Wars did it before the Simpsons. That's really impressive.
Maybe we'd have to look into that.
That may be close.
It could be a close one, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of the Simpsons, it is opening day in this softball league, and the Springfield Power Plant is up against the Springfield Police.
That's a tough team.
They are a good team.
They're packing.
Eddie Lou Wiggum, man.
Well, this is the beer league to the extreme. Like the beer league to end all beer leagues. I'm in a beer kickball league, and their softball league just puts us to shame. Cause let's talk about their ground rules real quick.
Great ground rules.
First of all, you can't leave first till you chug a beer. After scoring, you chug a beer. You chug a beer at the top of all odd number innings, and of course, the fourth inning is the beer inning.
Miles, we know how to play softball.
I love that. Chief Wiggum comes back with like, yeah, we know the rules to softball. Great stuff.
I think we forgot to mention earlier when when Homer revealed Wonder Bat to Bart, and Bart asked Homer, how many home runs are you going to hit this year? And Homer said, let's see, 30 games, 10 at-bats a game, 3,000.
See, if they had done that math we talked about earlier and not been able to get out of the 300s, they would have actually gotten that one correct.
Exactly. But I still love Homer's answer, and I love his confidence nonetheless.
Yeah, exactly.
About 3,000 or so.
Yeah, no big deal.
Next, though, we also get another Simpson showing off a skill that maybe isn't her forte. It's Marge on commentary, and it's the worst commentary you've ever heard. It's like, and there's a guy, and he's throwing the ball at that guy, and that guy's trying to hit that ball. And then he wants to run in that direction, and he does.
She's the Michael Cole of softball.
Oh, is what she is. There's three of wrestling guys here, and like hearing that during a match would just be absolute shit. Just like, here comes Brock Lesnar. He grabs Goldberg, throws him on his shoulders, gives him an S5. He did a good job today.
This has already gone on longer than the last Goldberg and Lesnar match.
Shots fired. Yeah, fucking
and for the record, Miles, you sounded way too excited when you were pretending to be Margie in that commentary. She didn't even have that much excitement in it.
That's true.
That's true.
And he does. He wants to hit the ball too.
Well, we get to the end of the ball game and it's all tied up and it's finally time for Homer to reveal that secret weapon of his. The guys kind of give him crap because he shows them it's a bat and they're like, oh, I've got a lucky bat too. And I think Carl says, I've got a magic jockstrap. But yeah, Homer gets he reveals the Wonder Bat and it's up to him to save the game. Bases are loaded, it's the bottom of the ninth, and it's all up to him. It's on his shoulders.
See, the thing I didn't understand at this point is it's the bottom of the ninth, which means at some point Homer would have bat already. So did he not use the Wonder Bat?
He was just saving it for this emotional, dramatic moment.
He's already taken away from his chance at those 3,000 home runs.
Yeah, because he says it's time for my secret weapon.
Yeah.
Which means he hasn't used it yet to this point.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. I never caught that before.
I hadn't either. That's a good point, Ripken.
Yeah.
And Miles, you gotta build the tension in this moment a little more. Like, I know you're not a baseball guy, but this is a big deal. I mean, when I was a kid, we had those no fear shirts where we would build it and say things like, bottom of the ninth inning, 2 outs.
As wrestling fans, we had the fuck fear shirts, sir.
I had no fear shirts, man. They're fucking huge up here.
Yeah, well, they were literally huge down here, like they always
were huge here too, yeah. Yeah, we all had that shit. But yeah, take it away, Rich.
You gotta do it more. It's a grand thing, man. It's the bottom dramatic. Of the ninth. There's 2 outs. We assume in the Simpsons case the count was full at 3-2. Bases are loaded. The score is 5-2. This is as epic as it gets.
Oh man, it's crazy.
And again, I assume the count was 3-2, but it's probably the pitch of the bat.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be?
No, it was. Yeah, no, for sure.
It looks like the pitcher leaves it hanging a little bit in the middle of the plate right there, and we'll see in super slow-mo later. Homer closes his eyes while he swings, and crack! At the bat, it's going way back.
And it's going! It's gone!
That's the crowd.
The crowd goes
wild. And then there's Marge
wild.
on commentary. Oh, and there's Homer. And he just hit the ball over the fence. Now he's slowly running the bases.
Someone's gonna have to go get that ball back.
Dude, that ball clocks the shit out of a dude too,
it does,
man.
Yeah.
That guy is dead as fuck.
Now hang on, we don't know it almost kills him. It could have for sure killed him.
I'm pretty sure it for sure
in front of his family and kids for sure. What a terrible place to have a picnic.
Yeah.
He could go into a coma and wake up 24 years from now going, is the Simpsons still a thing?
And it will be.
Yes, it will. Yeah,
that's the right answer. I like that.
That was great.
Yeah.
Well, Homer is a hero and pretty much everyone in town is happy about it except for the cops who are pretty pissed, especially since Homer won't stop gloating.
Yeah.
And I love that, Chief Wiggum is like, yeah, get his license and registration, boys.
You got it.
But at home in particular, the kids, I mean, they are enamored with their father. They both think he's the greatest. They both want to get him a beer.
Yep.
And instead of fighting about it, Homer's like, kids, it's fine. You can both get me a beer. But first, let's watch it again in slow motion. And super slow-mo.
Which, by the way, did you just make up a word too?
What'd I say?
Enamorated? I think you just made up a word.
Enamorated?
Yeah.
It made sense to me.
I think that's a word.
I don't even care. It sounded right.
It's enamored is the actual word you were trying to use, I believe, but enamorated means it happened in the past.
I am enamored with the fact that this word sounds so proper.
Well, if you conjugate that correctly, Richie, then the word that I said, whatever the pronunciation I may have used, was correct in that moment. But moving on, both kids get their dad a beer, but first they see it in super slow-mo, and I really like that. I didn't catch this the first time I watched it, but Homer is just as shocked as anybody when he sees the ball flying off the bat. Like, there's this moment where he cranks it and then he's just like, what? Before he starts running.
I guess that was probably the first time he used Wonder Bat. I mean, he bigged it up enough, but now he finally knows for sure that it is.
Yeah, it's like He-Man and Prince Adam. He didn't know the true power until he held it in his hand and used it.
Yeah. That's good reference,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
Or maybe he was scared to use it
good,
until
yeah.
that point. You're saying.
You just tickled me in my 80s, boner area.
I'll tickle
I like it better when you just say you
2017s.
tickled me in my 80s.
You'll need a DeLorean for that.
That would just be weird, a grown man going back. I'm here to tickle you from the future.
Again.
Dude, I swear there's got to be, I'm just guessing, but based on the amount of porn that exists, I would be willing to bet that there is a porn parody based on tickling in the future, based on the Back to the Future franchise. If not, porn industry, you can have that one. That's
Back to the Future.
Maybe that'll be our first
I
film.
do know, sadly, I watched this recently just out of genuine curiosity, and it was boring, frankly. It was not a well done production, but there is now a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles porn parody out there called 10-inch Mutant Ninja Heroes or Ninja Turtles, but yeah. You said you watched that as well, Ripken?
Oh, well, I saw the preview for it and I was just like, I can't believe that this is the depths that they've gone to now.
Oh,
It was floating around on the internet, the preview, the trailer was.
Yeah, so I guess I'm not like the rest of you. As soon as I saw that, I mean, before the fucking video ended, I had already found the full-length feature film. and,
Full-length,
you
you
know,
say?
was ready to dive into this cinematic masterpiece. It was really honestly boring. It's, Casey Jones and April O'Neil for about 10 minutes. And, you know, they're both like probably B-grade porn actors at best. And then like the big finale, the coup de grace is the 4 green turtle 10-inch dicks all cum shot, much like a WWE diva we all know recently. But there's no title involved in this one, but for whatever reason it is green sticky stuff that comes out. It's just a weird fucking video, man. It's
I remember I asked for your review, and when you told me that Shredder was a chick, I was like, oh, so Shredder and April
That's
did
the
one?
other thing.
I'm totally gonna watch
He
this.
could
And
really scissor.
you were like, hold on a second.
I forgot.
You were like, hold on.
That's the most frustrating part about this entire fucking porn is Shredder is actually played by a chick and she's super hot and she's in it for about like a half a second. She doesn't disrobe even a little bit and she's gone. And like I'm all just like spoiler alert for those of you who are really into the storyline of your pornos. The whole like gimmick of this is like the turtles are fighting off screen with the Shredder and the commentary in the background the entire time is like, oh man, if only you could see this. This is our most epic battle yet. I can't believe the amount of action that is happening right now. And oddly or ironically or whatever enough, like there's not really all that much action happening between Casey and April O'Neil. Yeah. So it's
Didn't you say she had like a way too much bush too or something?
Oh, she did. She had some 70s bush happening. That was another weird thing. Yeah.
This conversation's coming back to me.
I haven't seen this in quite, I mean, this is a one and done type of porn, guys. You're not gonna go back. This is not something you're adding to like your permanent collection of things you know you're gonna revisit in the future.
I gotta watch this.
This is something that you see it, you're like, okay, I needed to know that this was a thing, and now we're on to the next one.
I do know a fun fact about that, pornography video is that April O'Neil was played by porn star April O'Neil.
Oh wow, I did not know that. I did not realize that was a thing.
From the trailer.
Man,
wow.
Listen to Canadians talk about porn just makes it sound a lot nicer.
Yeah, it's very wholesome, this pornography talk
yes,
with the
absolutely.
Canadians. Yeah.
How did Simpsons bring us to pornography?
Have you not seen some of the like, I've never watched it. We've talked about this before.
He tries to say that every single
It's too disturbing
time.
to even think about, but you see like little banner ads for it, for Simpsons porn, and it just looks really kind of creepy.
Yeah, the cartoon porn industry is a strange one, but hey, if that's how you get your jollies, good for you.
I'm gonna be tweeting some Simpsons porn to someone I know soon.
Have you seen this episode?
Homer with the bat.
Oh.
The Wonder Bat.
Speaking of The Simpsons, we were talking about that show at one point, so let's get back to that. We actually get onto a montage where Homer is just, or I should say not just Homer, but the entire power plant team is going from city to city, and Homer is the hero of the team.
Yeah.
He's hitting home runs at every single game,
Yeah.
regardless of where they travel. And lo and behold, it's not too long before they are at the finals.
At one point, during the montage, he pulls the Babe Ruth,
Yes.
and he calls his shot to one side of the field, and then he ends up hitting the home run the opposite direction. So after he hits the home run, he changes his mind and points that way.
Which is still remarkable that he called his shot, and you could tell he's like Homer is obviously a pull hitter because he got it damn near close to the foul pole. So
yeah,
that means he's a pull hitter.
Yeah.
This is the most athletic ability Homer has shown in any episode, and I know they do a lot of stuff like this, but I was, it's kind of a crazy thing. I mean, he becomes an astronaut and all sorts of other stuff, and it's just so funny how Homer does so much, and he'll just get really good at random things like this. And
yeah, but he became an astronaut by default because Barney fucks up.
Default, yeah, the greatest words,
the two sweetest words in the English language.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, yeah, one other part of the montage I liked as well is towards the end, all the other players are trying to find their own magic bats, and it's everything from like the table of a leg, or the leg of a table, to like a prosthetic leg. It's a lot of things that are being attempted at reimagining the magic that came with.
That wasn't that guy's leg. That's for Rocket Raccoon. He needs it.
While Homer is carrying his team to the finals, we get a scene at the Millionaires Club where we see Mr. Burns and Aristotle Armadopoulos, the owner of the Shelbyville power plant, having a discussion and kind of just generally talking some smack at one another about their softball teams.
Yes.
They're both going to be facing each other for the pennant, and Armadopoulos actually recommends that they bet $1 million for the winner. And at first I like the scene where Burns kind of like insults him and he's like, how would you even want to bet so low? Blah, blah, blah. Those are pennies. And then like, he reminds me, he's like, well, I did say $1 million. And Burns is like, I just assumed you'd start low and we'd work our way to $1 million. $1 million will be quite fine. I like that. Immediately, Mr. Burns sees the opportunity to cheat. He actually asks Smithers, is it wrong, Smithers, to cheat to win a baseball game? And Smithers says, yes, sir, it would be. And then Burns replies, well, let me rephrase. Would it be wrong if I cheat to win a baseball game?
Yes.
Or softball
$1 million
game?
bet. Cheat to win $1 million bet.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was to win $1 million bet. You're right.
Which in the past, Miles, you've talked about this in recent days, just because we've watched this episode a few times, about how the other power plant manager was previously voiced by John Lovitz. I looked in the credits. I did not see John Lovitz listed this time, and it sounds nothing like him. So we just want to throw it out there that we don't think this was him in this case. It was a Phil Hartman not doing Troy McClure kind of thing where they established that voice does that character, but then in an episode or two later, it's not them all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I imagine it's just like a way to save a good chunk of money, but it is always frustrating when you have characters like that and they're voiced by other people because
he sounded like the Frenchman.
He
sounded like the Frenchman from the Grapes of Wrath episode.
And I'll be honest, this one really didn't like catch my ear nearly as much as like any of the Phil Hartman missing voices. Like it's very distinct, but I do appreciate when you have John Lovitz, when you have John Lovitz in that role, because he's just such a talented actor too.
It completely changes the sound.
I feel like guys, especially like John Lovitz, have come back for smaller roles than that though.
Yeah.
So they've gotten people back for one line or so just on an episode. So yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird that they wouldn't get him back.
Yeah, it is weird. What's not weird or not surprising at least is Mr. Burns is in fact going to cheat to win this game. He's decided that he's going to he's going to fill his power plant with ringers so that he can have them join the softball team. Though at first I love, he's actually pitching this to Smithers and he's listing off some names. There's a bunch of them, but one of the names he actually mentions is Jim Creighton. And Jim Creighton is considered to be baseball's first ever star. But it's a little late to get him on the team because he died in 1862.
Hey Miles, speaking of Smithers, I wanted to bring back something from the last scene where he's asked about you want to kill a man? Like, you want me to kill a man? He came to that pretty quickly that he would just absolutely murder someone for Mr. Burns.
Dude, Smithers is dedicated, man. Like, honestly, if like I were like he might possibly be like the world's best wingman, and strongly that's due to the fact that he totally wants to fuck Mr. Burns, but there's something for that. I mean, he is loyal to the end.
Oh yeah. He was ready to murder someone to help him win this $1 million bet.
Man's best friend.
Well, and I mean, he's literally like basically attempted to give his life in the past. There is I cannot remember which episode it was. I know it was where the power plant was having a meltdown and basically Homer saves it by saying eeny, meeny, miny, mo. But Smithers actually like unwillingly kind of gives Mr. Burns his like suit, his protection suit, his radiation suit. But at the same time, he totally knows it's his and is just like, yeah, you have it. Your life is more valuable.
Yeah.
Like, Smithers is down to the end, man. Like, he'll lay down for Burns.
Yeah, for sure.
In more ways than one.
Yeah.
In more ways than one.
I just put a really bad picture in my mind.
I don't know enough about baseball, but I believe that the other players other than Jim Creighton were also real life and most likely deceased players.
Three Finger Brown. Oh yeah.
Shoeless Joe Jackson.
I know Shoeless Joe. Shoeless Joe is the dude from the Corn movie, Field of Dreams. Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
The Children of Corn?
Children of the Corn, that's fucking right.
Malachi.
I love Children of the Corn, but I do have to say, the Field of Dreams, man, damn good movie, and that's coming from someone who's not like a huge baseball. I like baseball okay, not like my favorite sport by any means, but that movie, damn, solid.
It's a good one.
Makes men
not
cry
as good
all
as
the time.
Sandlot, but
it's no Sandlot. Sandlot is the bomb, dude.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
It's a great film.
Yeah.
The L7 weenie.
I still believe in shoes that you can pump up for extra power.
Oh yeah. Those are real shoes too, man. The PF Flyers, just look them up.
For real, man, yeah. Those are absolutely the truth. Oh, oddly enough, I didn't even think about the fact, isn't the old black guy in both of those?
James Old black guy. You mean the voice of Darth Vader?
Yeah. The voice of fucking Darth Vader. I could not think of the name. But yes, James Earl Jones is in both of those fucking movies. That's crazy.
That's right, yeah.
Hey, and of course he's done a voice in The Simpsons.
Bleeding Gums, man, come on.
Yeah.
He doesn't play Bleeding Gums.
No, he doesn't.
But he did do the Treehouse of Horror episode where they did the Raven.
Damn, I thought he was Bleeding Gums.
No, sir.
Hey guys, I'm trying to say goodbye to Lisa. We're sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of my dad's favorite episodes all the time. He liked Bleeding Gums.
It's a solid choice. Very solid choice, but.
I just fucked up, folks.
It's an honest mistake because Darth Vader pops up and then Mufasa pops up and.
Oh yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, I forgot
See?
about that. So I could see that. Yeah.
Now we're sidetracked to whole different episodes. So Smithers offers to go out and find some real, alive,
actual living baseball players, which was a good start. Yeah. Yeah, we start with, Jose Canseco, who, he got offered $50,000 for one game, and he's like, well, it's a pay cut, but, that sounds fun. I guess I'll do it. Mike Scioscia, who I don't know, I know Jose Canseco, he played for the Rangers briefly. I have no idea who Mike Scioscia is, but the name sounds familiar. He's actually.
Mike Scioscia is an asshole. Can we just throw that out there in case, I hinted at it earlier, but I hate Mike Scioscia and they make him so almost lovable in this episode. Like I actually generally liked him watching this and that made me.
I was gonna say he was awesome in this episode. I love that guy. He just wanted to like work like a, blue collar job. He was so excited to get an opportunity to work at the power plant. He didn't even want to be on the softball team.
Yeah,
he just wanted to fucking like move, nuclear waste back and forth and shit.
I love that line that Burns has when he says he just wants to go back to work and Burns says, one more outburst like that and I'll send you back to the big leagues.
Yeah,
I love how Mike Scioscia was not Mike Scioscia at all in this episode.
To be fair, I hate him though because he's the manager of the Angels. In real life now, after his playing days are over, and I'm a Rangers fan, so naturally I fucking hate Mike Scioscia. But he is a mean looking dude.
If you hate Mike Scioscia, he had the best possible outcome for you in this episode.
I feel like, Richie, like, every week you, like, have to find a way to become divisive with, like, at least half of the audience. Cause I know a few weeks ago, it was when, Carl was on, Carl Zolke, our German friend. you had like gotten pissed. You like named like half of the NFL teams of teams you hate. How many teams are honestly rivals with the Rangers?
Well, you know, everyone in their division.
I know Toronto. I know Toronto.
No. A lot of people want to say Toronto. They're not. No, we don't even need to mention them. Like
they got in a fist fight. They literally started punching each other.
Did you see what happened Did you see what happened recently though in the World Baseball Classic when Bautista was trying to slide into second base where a certain somebody
didn't. If it's Bautista, then I know he's about to be in Guardians of the Galaxy.
A certain somebody was playing second base and catching the ball there, and Bautista literally, he stopped the slide before he ever got to second, and people were laughing at him. He wanted nothing to do with that second baseman.
Every time you say Bautista, I go to wrestling, and I'm thinking like, again, like the dude that's gonna be in the upcoming blockbuster.
Batista for the Blue Jays, Batista wrestling, so we get Blue-tista.
That's how it
We already
works.
had Blue-tista though. Remember it went Batista, Blue-tista, Blue-tista. When he wore the blue trunks like a few years ago when he was fighting the Shield, yeah.
I don't know.
It was right after WrestleMania.
Well, you guys are Blue Jays fans. Is it actually Bautista with Joey?
Batista.
Whatever.
Yeah, okay.
I don't watch baseball. I just hear news.
Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, they get a few more players. They got Ozzie Smith. I feel like that's a name I should know. I really don't, but I love the fact that he, is he really? Yeah, I love that. Wait, does the Baseball Hall of Fame actually mean something, or is it like the WWE Hall of Fame?
It's actually quite hard to get into the Baseball Hall of Fame. You have to accomplish quite a bit.
Is there like an actual hall? Let me ask you that, because there's not one. There's not one for WWE. It's a completely fictional place at this point in time.
I wish it was real. You go meet these guys all the time. All the Hall of Famers are there that are alive.
Oh my god, that'd be amazing. I heard rumor that they're thinking of taking over the NBA restaurant at Universal Studios in Orlando, which has closed down in the last couple of years. I heard rumors that WWE is planning on turning that into a physical Hall of Fame / restaurant. So
that'd be
I don't know how I feel about that, but I like the idea of being
there
able to
besides
visit.
Richie because he hates wrestling.
Yeah, fuck that.
Dude, they have Springfield at fucking Universal Studios.
We can go to
I've been there.
Moe's.
Yes.
That part
We
would be
can
fun.
have a beer together at Moe's, man.
I'll get drunk at Moe's and
And
then go make an ass of myself at the Wrestling Hall of Fame, and I would love to do that.
Oh, dude, I'll film it.
Dude, so, we'll talk more about this later, but my wife and I have actually gone both, in the last couple of years and 5 years before that, and we specifically go at Halloween. You'll have to tell your wife, Jenny, about this because Universal Studios does the best fucking Halloween event, period. It's
I watch all the, the walkthroughs for all the houses just cause we can't go, so I'm just like.
Dude, I've been there twice,
so
we need to pledge. Some way, somehow, we're gonna meet up at Universal Studios and do the Halloween Nights of Horror, cause, that is like the coolest event I've ever been to. And as Halloween fans, you guys would absolutely love it. So, and then of course, we can have a beer at Moe's. That's the fucking greatest thing.
Oh, hell yeah.
So yeah, we're planning that. Kind of so now guys, just so we're clear, we have to, in addition to talking about the Simpsons and wrestling at some point on your show, we also need to plan time to get together to watch all of the Beverly Hill Cops trilogy. And we need to travel to Orlando together. So
Yes.
We should really get cooking on that.
I've been to Orlando. I've never seen the Beverly Hills Cop trilogy. I feel like my life is backwards.
Your life is backwards. Those are great movies.
But are we gonna go this whole time talking about all this Hall of Fame stuff? Which, first of all, I'm offended that you talked more about a wrestling Hall of Fame that doesn't exist than you did about a Hall of Fame that is real and incredibly difficult to get into. And now Homer is a member. Damn it.
Homer is a member. Woo-hoo! The Simpsons are a member. This episode was just recently inducted into the real life, actual existing Baseball Hall of Fame. How fucking cool is that? Thank you. Yes, it does deserve an applause. Yeah. If I didn't have a beer in my hand, I would also join you in a clap.
Right into Cooperstown, baby.
Well, then let's do a cheers to Homer.
Woo! Cheers indeed, my friends. Cheers indeed. The Simpsons is in the fucking Baseball Hall of Fame. That is incredible.
It's because all the players in real life do steroids now, so they can't really put anybody else into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
I don't think we can prove one way or the other that the Simpsons did or didn't do steroids for what it's worth, so I don't know if that's fair.
Well, if they took it to enhance the episodes, it hasn't been working for the last 15 years.
Word off.
Ouch. Remember, there is a Simpsons happening, according to our friend at Pinot You Didn't, and I have to say, the couple of episodes I've tuned in for recently, they've been decent. I've liked them.
I think they take way too much
weird,
hate.
though. The voices sound weird. I think they take a lot too much hate. I do think there were some darker years in the late teens, early 20s maybe, but and in terms of being darker, I still think it's better than a lot of television. I think at times it's too Family Guy. I think they go a little bit too much Peter Griffin with Homer, but all in all, I think The Simpsons still brings a lot of comedy.
Absolutely, man. You need to listen to the older episodes though, like when you watch them, I watch them on a certain website and they look the exact way that they used to, but I was even watching earlier episodes on my TV earlier and the color looks so much better with the new TVs and HD TVs, but the sound is not good. If you listen to the older episodes, even from the quote unquote golden age, there are a few episodes where the characters sound a little weird because you have the enhanced sound and everything, and it almost sounds echoey. And I noticed this on more than one occasion. So it's just, I guess the better technology gets, the worse old things are, unless they get digitally remastered.
In some degree, that affects wrestling too, for the same reasons. Like the better cameras, reveal too much.
You can see that they're not actually hitting each other.
Well, pretty much, and a lot, like, you can just see things
Richie,
that you shouldn't.
I'd love to see you jump off on top of a ladder and land outside the ring.
I'm not gonna try to do that because a few times people actually try to do that in wrestling, they actually get hurt or die.
I do want to say though, I somewhat agree with you. I've heard episodes recently, but to me the sound issue is more to do with the voice actors have just aged so much. Their voices have changed, and it's very, very, very unsettling when, especially since we've been watching all these older episodes, to go from watching a season 3 episode to watching a season 28 episode and back, it's really trippy. Like, the voices don't even sound the same at all.
Julie Kavner sounds really old these days. When you hear Marge talk.
That's Marge, right? Yeah, oh, Marge definitely, man. Like,
she
she's the biggest offender.
Aged.
And you can't hold that against them. It's not like it's their fault. People's voice age over time, but it's still, at the same time, it's very weird to hear. And then of course you have even worse things like Marsha Wallace passing away and us losing a character like Miss Krabappel, who is such a big part of the Simpsons in this era. And the fact that she's gone, I mean, it's just very weird that there's just, it's like a little tiny piece is missing, and it's not like it's always apparent, but the more you watch, the more you realize it's like, oh wow, that voice just isn't there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird.
Anyway, back to Homer at the Bat, where we're talking about Mr. Burns recruiting some ringers. I think we stopped at Ozzie Smith, and Ozzie Smith, who got us tangented to the Hall of Fame. But I loved his character in this episode. I don't know anything about him in real life, but I love the idea that he's just this, like, addicted tourist. Like, when we meet him, he is at Graceland visiting Elvis's home, and, like, he's just there with, like, a camera taking pictures, and he's all eager to learn. And then, of course, we'll talk about his fate later in the episode. But, in addition to Ozzie, we get Don Mattingly, we get Steve Sachs, who is part of a jazz trio in New York, we get Roger Clemens.
Mattingly's a very nice guy.
Yeah, Mattingly seems very Canadian. He's not Canadian.
He is Canadian. He's like, come on in.
Hey, I don't know you, but hey, come on in. He's doing his dishes with his...
on his pink house, too, by the way.
But yeah, also Daryl Strawberry and Ken Griffey Jr. Probably, I hope I didn't miss anybody there, but there was some ringers is what we got to. And, part of though, it's pretty funny because as soon as they all got jobs, and I love even during the presentation of the new employees, Mr. Burns on some of them is like, and we'll think of your jobs later. Oh, by the way, the softball sign-up sheet is right here. And, that's actually where that line that you talked about, Richie, earlier, where Sosha spoke up, and he's like, if one more outburst, you're going to the big leagues, which is great.
Send you back to the big leagues.
But the sad thing is, even though these major leaguers don't really want to play, they are on the team, and they're obviously better than the rest of the team because they're pro baseball players. Yep. Homer and his friends are the ones that got them to the championship game, and now none of them are going to get to play because all these pros have taken their spots. And Homer's obviously upset by this. There's this great scene where Homer meets Daryl Strawberry and realizes they both play the same position. He's like, "Are you better than me?" Daryl Strawberry's like, well, I haven't met you, but yeah. At dinner, Homer's upset. He's talking about how Daryl's bigger than him, he's stronger than him, he's faster than him, and he already has more friends at the plant than he does.
Which, to be fair, if Homer's hitting all these home runs for you all the time, I'm finding a way to get him in the lineup. Just
That's
saying.
right.
Don't you have a designated hitter in baseball? Can't you do that?
Maybe
for
not
Homer?
softball.
Maybe not in a power plant softball league.
yeah.
There's probably only nine.
no.
But,
Probably
he
not
said,
pitcher
but
bats.
the other factor we're not considering, guys, you have to go back to the softball league rules. I would argue that Homer is still the best drinker on the team.
Also true.
He carried the team to the finals, so.
Yeah. So there's some management questionability happening here with Burns' strategy. I'm just saying. But for now, we actually get to my favorite scene, I think, or one, it's hard to say in this episode just because it's so good, but one of my favorite scenes is at that same dinner table. Bart basically calls Homer out. He says, you're being soft. I can't believe you. You've always taught me that if you put your mind to something, you can do anything. And that's when I just love Homer's response. Homer's like, you're right. Now that you're older, I can tell you the truth, boy. There's always going to be people that are better than you. So Bart's like, got it. Can't win. Don't try.
Sound
I love
parenting
that.
advice from Homer Simpson as always.
Trying is the first step towards failure.
Exactly, so don't try.
Indeed. Well, now that Burns got his team together, he's become a more active manager, and the first thing he does is says, no more beer. From now on, we're going to be drinking this brain and nerve tonic, despite the fact that there is a small chance that it can cause gigantic.
That would never happen.
But that's very rare. That's very rare. It's
Slight.
probably not going to be any sort of impact in this
1
episode.
in 1,000, yeah.
I love the fact that Ken Griffey Jr. actually delivers the line, it's like there's a party in my mouth and everyone's invited. That's a classic
Famous
Simpsons
line, yeah.
line. And
He just
Ken
loves
Griffey
chugging that purple
Jr.
drink.
Actually
Yeah.
says it. The purple drink, that's
Yeah.
right.
Proof that Canadians are racist.
No, we drink grape juice up here all the time. I personally am a big fan of it.
And if we are
Whoa,
racist,
whoa,
we
whoa,
apologize for it immediately
Yeah, we're
after.
sorry.
We're so sorry.
I have to ask now, Goobs, do Canadians think that purple drink is grape juice?
No, it's grape drink.
Okay. Oh, okay.
No, it's not
Yeah,
juice.
moving on.
What is juice?
Burns also starts taking his team to the old time gym. I love that he immediately calls for the medicine balls. He's got people in like the steaming contraption and like the thing where like the like band like jiggles your fat and apparently that's supposed to help somehow. But yeah, it's just it's like a 1920s
Yes.
gym.
I mean, that makes sense. It's Mr. Burns.
Yep.
He also hires a hypnotist, and another line that just slayed me. The hypnotist is basically hypnotizing the team to convince them that they can beat Shelbyville, and they will beat Shelbyville, and that they will give 110%, to which they all in like a very like zombie-like response in unison, we can't give 110%, that's impossible, 100% is the most percent that anyone can give. And I don't know why,
Sure.
but that just absolutely cracked me up.
I don't know if we covered it or not, or if we've passed this point, but I also love when, Burns decides to step in and show one of the players how to properly bunt. He doesn't like how he's holding.
That was
Oh,
Ozzie
that
Smith he was
bunt.
stepping in for, I believe, which Ozzie Smith was very athletic, so
Yes, he could run out that base, yeah, for sure.
he could backflip the crap out of those bases.
He could. But in taking the bunt, basically he takes the pitch, and as the ball connects with the bat, Burns is thrown backwards into the fence.
Clemens just had a little too much heat that Clemens was too hot to handle.
Yeah, well,
for
he's
Burns,
the
is what
Rocket,
I'm
you
trying
know,
to
he's
say.
the Rocket, so.
He also breaks the Wonder Bat in practice.
Yeah, oh, what a jerk.
Burns right through it.
But doesn't he use it at the end of the game?
No more Wonder Bat.
Homer will
Yeah,
never
for the
swing
Wonder
Wonder
Bat.
Bat again.
It was not well acknowledged in the episode, unfortunately.
No, it really
no.
wasn't. I saw Wonder Bat die. I even wrote it down, but I just assumed at the end of the episode, I guess I just forgot because, he'd been using Wonder Bat the whole time. Maybe he ran out in a lightning storm with a sheet of metal to stand under the second
That would
Coliseum
be
design
smart
the-
for sure, yeah.
Wonder Bat 2.0.
Like
I love-
Francesca 2.0.
I love at the end of the practice staying on Clemens there. That's one of my favorite lines in the episode, when multiple lines, is when he posts the sign-up sheet. But have we gotten to that point yet?
Oh, when they post the starting lineup? Oh my god, yeah, that's so great when Clemens gets it.
Homer runs up behind Clemens saying, please, 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 he wants to make the team. And he says, Clemens, did I make the team? And Clemens says, you sure did. And Homer starts woohooing and everything, and Clemens goes, wait a minute, are you Ken Griffey Jr.? And Homer says, no. He goes, oh, sorry to get your hopes up.
How awful for Homer. But I mean, obviously he should have.
Talk about like the worst player to like get him confused with. How did you think he was Ken
pretty
Griffey?
Polar opposite.
Because he was fat?
He clearly doesn't have a Super Nintendo. So next we get to a scene with Mr. Burns going over his starting lineup for the big game. And he starts talking about how basically it's a shoo-in. It might as well be over. It's done. Yep. He's got his team. They're gonna win. There's no way, unless there was 9 misfortunes all at once, and that's not gonna happen. Maybe there'll be 3 misfortunes. That's possible. 7?
There's a slight chance.
That's a long shot, but it could happen, I guess. But 9? There's no way.
And to be fair, he did not suffer 9 misfortunes.
That is correct, sir.
You know, you're right. Yeah, he did not
was
quite.
Right.
It was only 8, right?
No, I wouldn't even call it 8. Clemens technically shows up.
He does show up.
He is there.
And I
don't know, man. If you show up thinking you're a chicken, I don't know. I think that counts as a misfortune.
Poor Don Mattingly came to the game.
Mattingly, I think you could argue, isn't really a misfortune as much as it is just Burns being a crazy
Miles,
motherfucker.
did you see how Mattingly looked at the end of the episode? He was a misfortune.
That's true. It was a misfortunate look. This is jumping ahead just a little bit, but that scene I read something pretty interesting on IMDb about that Don Mattingly sideburn scene. So this was actually a parody or a rib, if you will, about a real life incident that happened between George Steinbrenner, who is the famous manager of the New York Yankees. In 1991, Don Mattingly played for George Steinbrenner, and they got into an argument which involved George Steinbrenner wanting Mattingly to cut his hair, which Don Mattingly refused, and he ended up getting suspended. So this was actually kind of a mocking of that situation that happened.
And Mattingly even says afterwards that Burns is still better than Steinbrenner.
Well, yeah, he is.
If you watch Seinfeld at all, you'll be very familiar with George Steinbrenner.
Well, we jumped out of order a little bit, but basically what's going to happen is, lo and behold, Mr. Burns is going to have a lot of unfortunate events happen to his ringers. First up is Jose Canseco. I have another interesting fact about this one, actually. In the episode, we see him rescuing a woman from, I think it's their baby to start, from a fire.
Yep.
And before too long, he's rescuing, like, her entire house. Like,
exactly,
her washer, her dryer, her fridge, like, everything. It's ridiculous. And they actually did that for a reason. The writers did. It's because Jose Canseco
was an ass.
I don't know if he's an ass. I don't know anything about him, honestly.
I heard he was very difficult to work with. I read an article online saying that he is very difficult to work with, and from a Simpsons writer standpoint.
That would connect with what I was about to say, because on IMDb again, it lists that Jose Canseco is actually originally written to have slept with who we spoke of earlier, Mrs. Edna Krabappel. He was going to hook up with her, right? Yeah, and that was going to cause him to be late to the game or to miss the game. But Jose Canseco complained about this act, and he did not want that to appear in the final script. So, to kind of jab back at him. I know! I would love to be written to have boned Edna Krabappel.
Yeah,
that'd be fucking awesome. Like, you'd go down in history. Like, that's a cool thing to be, like, honored with on a show such as iconic as The Simpsons. But,
definitely.
But yeah, so The Simpsons, to kind of get back, the writers specifically to kind of get back at him, they wrote him this heroic segment, but they wrote it to the point of absurdity, to the point where he would look like an idiot, basically, because he's going in.
Him.
Right, cause like the woman's like, oh no, the dryer goes on the other side, so he's like moving it around and stuff while the house is burning down, and I mean, so that was why that was so extreme and why that joke was so absurd, is they They're kind of poking fun back at Jose Canseco for not just going with the flow.
Wouldn't it have been epic if they wrote him off the show the way that Poochie was written off of Itchy and Scratchy?
I have to go back to my planet now. My
Go back to the steroids now.
I know that episode hasn't aired yet, but that just would have been so perfect.
No, but that would be great.
I think we skipped over a part here.
What we skipped?
There's an important
Ralph.
Yeah, there's an important part where Bart and Ralph are
Oh my god, we did skip that part, you're right.
captaining their own softball teams. Basically, they're picking teams and
Schoolyard rules.
yeah. And so Bart or is it Ralph who picks first?
Bart picks first.
It's Bart who picks first, because every time Bart picks one of the elementary school students, it just so happens a pro walks by and Ralph gets them on his team.
Yeah.
I think Ralph picked first. I think Bart was
I thought it
talking
was
up.
Ralph who picked first, because Bart was just so sad to end up having to pick Milhouse first.
Yeah.
All right,
First
I'll take
First was Griffy, I think.
Milhouse.
Griffy.
Oh, okay, maybe I was wrong there.
Yeah, Ken Griffey goes, I'll take Ken
I
Griffey
love Wade
Jr.
Boggs' reaction.
I'm wrong with you, Miles. Mr.
That's usually-
Off.
Oh, dude, if I had known that was your choice, I would have just automatically changed my answer.
That'd probably be the right idea.
I love Wade Boggs who walks by and then Ralph so excited says, "Hey, Mr. Boggs, you want to be on my team?" And Wade Boggs just, "You got yourself a player," jumps over the fence, high fives his teammates.
Yeah, he's just so matter of fact about it. I love, and the way he hops the fence,
Yeah.
it's great. It's a great scene.
A strong fence.
It's almost like he saw them from a distance and he said to himself, I'm gonna time my walk by this baseball field, so hopefully they pick me to play on their team. And then he was just so happy when it all came to fruition.
I just like that Ralph actually knew all the baseball players. That was kind
good
of,
for Ralph.
Yeah, that's surprisingly, smart for Ralph.
Well, Ralph knows his pop culture.
Well, we were just talking about Wade Boggs, and he has a great scene of how his unfortunate event that keeps him from the game happens. He decided to have a drink at Moe's, and unfortunately he gets into quite the argument with local
beer aficionado, can we say?
Barney Gumble and him get into it over, they're arguing over Supreme Court justices.
No, England's greatest prime minister.
Yep. Prime ministers, you're totally right.
Lord Palmerston!
H.G. Elder!
Lord Palmerston!
H.G. Elder!
Mo sticks his nose in and he almost gets knocked out by Barney.
No, he
too.
does.
Get knocked out by Barney.
He does.
Mo gets knocked. I must have blinked there.
There's the sound and the fury, I guess is what we should name Barney's punches.
But yeah, then on to Ozzie Smith, which is one of my favorite gags in this whole episode, because I mentioned earlier, he was the ultimate tourist.
Yes.
We met him at Graceland, and now, even though it's game day, he just cannot resist the temptation of the Springfield mystery spot.
Could you?
I couldn't. This is where all logic takes a holiday, and all laws of nature are meaningless. Guys, this is something that you have to see. Even though when he asked how long it'll take, it's it could take a little time or an eternity or something, equally mysterious.
I'll take one, please.
Man, Miles, look at you. You always get on yourself for not paying attention to the sign. Is that a first occurrence on this show?
Hey, it's gotta be a first time for everything.
Miles, did you see the sign? Did it open up your eyes?
I saw the sign. It did.
I saw the sign.
I wish I knew the next line, but you stole all the
Life is
ones I know.
demanding without understanding.
Nailed it.
Yep, totally. Hey,
Down it.
that's better than our first take of, Homer, Ozzy, and the Straw is gonna be, so.
That never happened. Shh.
Yeah, you guys never fucked up the first recording. No, it was on us too. Wait, that was too Canadian of me. This is totally on you.
We're sorry.
Totally.
You should be. Kidding. I'm kidding. I'm not. But
This
I
is
am.
gold. Gold, Jerry. Wrong show. Back to Simpsons.
That's never wrong to bringing that up.
So we're back at the Simpsons house, and Homer is kind of depressed. His family's getting ready to go to the game, and he's like, no, I don't want you to go to the game. I don't want you to see me sit on my worthless butt. And the kids are like, we've already seen that tons of times.
We've seen it, Dad. Oh, Bart with the one-liners. I love them.
They're actually really good in this one. He does one when the Marge, or no, it comes up later. I'm jumping ahead again, but when they're recording Homer during the final game, Marge starts to tape him and he starts scratching his nuts. So Marge turns away and says, kids, tell me whenever your dad stops scratching himself. And there's like a 4 or 5 second pause. Marge is like, kids? And Bart's like, yeah, we'll tell you, Mom. Great line.
Yeah.
I will, Mom.
Marge should have known that.
Bottom line is all of these players end up hurt. Or not hurt. They end up not able to play for some reason or the other. We mentioned earlier, Roger Clemens literally thinks he's a chicken.
Which still doesn't count.
The only remaining player on the team is the one that plays Homer's position, and that's none other than Daryl Strawberry. So it turns out that during this championship game, all of Homer's friends are going to get to play, but Homer's going to be riding the bench.
I have a quick thing here. Go back to wrestling quickly. Won't take long.
Do it.
Monty
I love
Burns
wrestling.
is Vince McMahon pushing Daryl Strawberry as Roman Reigns. Everyone wants Homer, but no one gets him. They keep shoving Daryl Strawberry down our throats.
Man, fuck Strawberry, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Boo!
And you know what? There's 2 people in the crowd who make Strawberry feel that wrath, actually.
Oh, they do. They lay it on him.
Yeah. Bart and Lisa eventually start pulling classic chants, and I know these chants, I've seen these chants, and personally, I've always wondered if these chants like truly affect a professional athlete. But Bart and Lisa from the crowd start chanting, Daryl, Daryl, Daryl.
Yeah, that's gotta fuck with a person, right?
Yeah. Of course, Marge, being the concerned mother that she is, says, kids, that's not very nice. Stop that. And then Lisa says, or Lisa or Bart, was it Lisa? I don't remember.
I think it was Lisa. Lisa is basically like, Mom, they're used to it. It's just part of the game.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you just go to Daryl and there's that one lonely teardrop that just slowly falls down his face.
He is affected by it big time.
Yeah, it actually makes you wonder, I once went to my first Toronto Maple Leaf game. Sorry, I don't know if, Dallas, I don't know if you're a Dallas Stars fan or not, but.
I've been to a handful of Stars games. I don't watch a lot of hockey, but I love going to hockey games live. There's something about the, intensity of being in the building that I really enjoy.
You're a quarter Canadian right now.
Yeah, talking about hockey.
Don't insult me like that, you fucking asshole.
Oh, so sorry. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, eh?
Sorry, man. The Stars that night were big and bright.
Damn it, you know I'm Texan. We can't resist clapping when you do that. Stop.
You didn't say the rest of it. You're not really Texan.
Yeah, it's actually true.
Keeping the heart
I've been here
Texan.
though a long time, but I still don't feel Texan, frankly. I just happen to reside here. Not that I don't dig Texas. There's a lot of great about it.
Professional athletes were bothered by that because at one of my very first Leaf games, Eddie Belfour was the goalie for the Chicago Blackhawks, and
I know that name. He used to play for Dallas.
Yes, exactly. The Toronto crowd would not stop chanting Eddie. So
is it like Eddie?
Yeah.
Eddie.
Yeah. Like literally, I'm talking for like a good half of the game. Like that's
Eddie Guerrero played hockey.
Latino Heat, baby.
Yeah, that's right. He rode to the net in the lowrider.
He lied and cheated to steal his way to a Stanley Cup.
So he would throw his hockey stick up in the air so the opponent would catch it and then point it out so the ref would call a high stick.
But no,
no, seriously, like for professional athletes, like, they hear a lot of shit coming from the audience, like, what is actually going through their heads if they actually catch it, like if they hear it, so.
Well, and yeah, people are so self-conscious in general that I know to some degree people in those roles have to just turn that off, but at the end of the day, we're human, man. It's human nature to have those feelings creep in.
So yeah, tough, poor Daryl Strawberry out in the outfield having to listen to Bart and Lisa.
I got the feels for him.
Yeah, no, poor guy, man.
Oh, the feels.
But you know what? He made up for it later in the game by having one hell of a game by going what I can only assume was 9 for 9, with 9 home runs.
Oh yeah, the straw killed it in that game for sure.
No, you guys are terrible. Like, no. If Homer was gonna hit his landmark 1,000 home run season, then if Strawberry only has 9 home runs in a game, and there's only 30 games in a season, that's not gonna get him there ever.
Well, if the math,
He'll fall well short.
if the math was correct, he actually did say 10 home runs a game, so Strawberry was on pace to get to the supposed to be number of 300 that Homer had come up with at the beginning of the season.
Homer said 3,000.
I know, but if we can do the math and correct it for him. Or three of the 4 of us can at least.
But he came in late in the season.
Yeah, poor guy. He had the disadvantage.
Yeah, there's no way he can overcome those odds. But it's time for Burns to take a bigger hand in managing his team. He sees that they are up against a left-handed pitcher and they need a right-handed batter. So
which is common. I mean, that's why the Rangers lost a World Series once, because
that is
the most overrated manager.
Legit baseball tactics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think regardless of what baseball managing says, if you are considering pulling Darryl Strawberry for Homer Simpson, you are doing something incorrectly.
No. I disagree because I gotta say, like Richie said, Homer's been your hero up until this point. If anything, at this point, Homer is now the second best player on that team, so if you're gonna replace Darryl Strawberry with anybody.
Yeah,
that is true. That's a solid argument.
Anyone, you can put Kevin Owens in.
That's another solid argument.
Kevin Owens he's a bigger wrestler, kind of like Homer, so.
Literally bigger.
He has a gut.
Well, bottom line is, we're in the bottom of the 9th. It's 43-43. Darryl Strawberry is up, and despite having 9 for 9 with 9 home runs, he does decide to put Homer in as a right-handed batter.
You gotta love Strawberry's reaction to being taken out of the game. He's so at awe at what Mr. Burns is doing.
Well, and I love that, like, he's like, but I've got 9 home runs today, and Mr. Burns is like, yeah, you should be very proud of yourself. He was due for an out.
Take a lap and hit the showers.
He was due for an out.
The real problem, though, is Burns is overcoaching at this point because he put Simpson in, and Homer's standing there listening to him going over all the calls, the signals, which, to be fair, these do look like ridiculously overcomplicated gang signs, and like that's stuff in real life. Like I remember even playing Little League, and I always hated in Little League our signals because like when I'm up at bat, I'm like, can't I just like try to hit the fucking ball? Like
exactly.
I know I'm too fat to fucking bunt, so don't act like that's an option. And I mean, why in the fuck am I gonna take the pitch if it's clearly a strike? Like, I mean, come on. So I don't really fully understand the call system, and probably only marginally better than Homer. But Homer doesn't get it in all, and in fact, it makes him zone out, and he starts just kind of going away. He's like actually talking about how, man, I wish I could be at home watching TV. Potato chips would be nice.
Totally Homer right there.
But yeah, just completely confuses the shit out of him. But he's up to bat, and it kind of accidentally works out. You could say he pulled a Homer, actually, because while Homer is looking over at Burns trying to figure out what the fuck the call is from all of Burns' crazy motions, he actually gets clocked in the head. He gets beamed by the ball to take first base.
Yep.
Which drives the runner home.
Doesn't the ball go outside the foul line?
No, once you're hit with the ball, it doesn't matter.
Oh, does it matter?
It doesn't matter, yeah. Once the ball hits you're hit, you go to first.
Gosh darn it, I thought I had a thing there.
Too bad it wasn't Robot Baseball Wars or whatever the fuck that Canadian game was. Then he could have just got out his laser gun and shot the ball before it hit him in the head.
Now, just a little side note I want to point out, because I'm, being a huge fan of this episode, I don't go to the club very often, but
yeah, I'm not a clubber myself.
When I do go to the club and I hit up the dance floor.
I thought you were going to say hit a seal.
No, sometimes. But when I hit up the dance floor, I like to pull the Monty Burns. I call it the Monty Burns because everything he was doing while Homer was zoning out, little touching of the belt, little wiggle of the feet, it really gets you in the mood to dance.
Is that your mating dance?
It drives the women crazy up here in Canada. Let me tell
Clearly
you.
you've been to the
I've
club a
passed
few
on it
times.
several times.
So
Clearly
for all of our
club.
listeners, if you're trying to pick up chicks in Canada,
There it is.
picking up Ripken's Monty
Yep.
Burns dance moves
Homer at bat.
are the way to Canadian
Yep.
panty drop,
There
apparently.
it is. It is.
Or to boxer drop, because we do not discriminate here on the Best Darn Diddly Review Show, so
Don't
whatever
forget,
your
if you're in
fancy.
Canada and you're getting with a lady, use maple syrup as lube. They love it. Trust us.
Yeah.
I was about to ask, do they have maple flavored condoms in Canada? Because if so, could you ship me
better
some? That
believe
actually
we
sounds
do,
rad.
bud.
My wife loves syrup, so I feel like that could go over.
If I ever find some, I'm sending you a
Send
pack.
them your way.
Get you some maple
Rad.
bacon flavored.
Lo and behold, Homer, one way or the other, through being beamed in the head, I guess, through just dumb luck, through
Yep.
pulling a Homer, they win the big game,
Yep.
and I love it. Actually has the picture at the end, just 1992 city champs, and it's just such a great picture with Homer and all this big league players.
Little side note based on that picture, I partake in a fantasy baseball pool every year, and every year I call my team the Springfield Isotopes. And
Nice!
I use that exact picture as my little profile picture, the team picture at the end there, the 1992
Dude, that's dope.
champions.
Before we hit the end, we
Respect.
missed one of my favorite parts of this, and there's a job I would love to do. The peanut guy. Walking down, just beaming everyone in the fucking head with peanuts.
Goobs, even you could do a better job than that guy
I
is doing.
think I could.
I don't think any of those people actually ordered peanuts.
Who wants peanuts? Some of them did. He's
Well,
like, "Here you go."
dude, it was like the one guy gets smacked in the face, one like it goes and hits the car,
Yes.
one it lands on the pitching mound. Like he is clearly the worst peanut guy in the history of fucking baseball vendors.
That was great. Yeah, that's a good callback there. Good thing you remembered that.
Yeah,
You don't have
definitely.
to put this in. Sorry, you don't have to put this in or not. But I got a really funny story. I'll tell very quickly.
Oh no, please. We love stories on the Best Darn Diddler Review Show. Tell away.
This is about is that a baseball game? Is that a Blue Jays game? I know some people here might get upset about Blue Jays, but my friend was there with his wife, and she was a heavier set woman, very nice girl. But she was sitting there eating a big foot long.
Do you want to tell us her name?
What was that?
Do you want to tell us her name?
I'm not gonna say names.
I'm just fucking with you since you said heavyset woman.
But yeah.
Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Heavyset woman there sitting down in her chair at the Blue Jays game, just gonna eat a hot dog. And this is what they do, like t-shirt time. They probably do that down, like they put the shirts in the air guns and shoot them out at the audience. But pretty much, like she was sitting there with the hot dog in her mouth, and this lady was just like looking over with the gun. She probably saw her like, oh yeah, here we go. She fired off the t-shirt, shot it like straight down, hit the hot dog that she was eating, shoved it down her throat, and it broke her nose as well with the impact.
Oh god.
The girl was up 25 feet away and just fucking nailed this shit right into her face.
That's like that episode of Friends where Ross takes a hockey puck to the face, but way better.
What's an episode of The Simpsons where fucking Maude dies? I mean,
Oh yeah, that's actually a better reference. You're totally right.
That's definitely what happened, but no, she lived. She had a broken nose and a hot dog shoved down her throat, but that wouldn't be the first time.
Standard Saturday night for me.
you guys brought up the picture. Did you not love how in the picture at the end, that Ozzie Smith was like fading out of the picture?
Yeah.
He's in the top left and he's fading out.
At least he made it.
Oh,
to the
I didn't
picture,
even
right?
catch that. That's hilarious.
He's falling in midair in the
What a-
background there.
Yeah.
What a great ending for his story.
And
Wow.
that Lisa was wrong for once in this episode when she called that when Marge was upset that Homer got hit, and Lisa said, no, it counts as a hit, Mom. It's an HBP. So, Lisa,
That sounds like a sexually transmitted disease. What does that mean?
You don't
It
want
means
that
that-
HPP.
Yeah, you should disclose that before you sleep with somebody.
I've been hit by a pitch
penetration?
before.
Even though he technically got the winning run home, he doesn't get
He
credit
gets the
for that?
RBI, but it just counts as
Yeah.
a walk, basically.
Not a hit.
Okay, alright. Well, we end the episode with one great song parody. We're not talking baseball. No. We're talking softball.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Burns had done it.
The power plant had won it.
With Roger Clemens clucking all the while.
Mike Scioscia's tragic illness made us smile.
Well, Wade Boggs laid unconscious on the barroom tile.
We're talking softball. From Maine to San Diego. We're talking softball. Mattingly and Canseco.
King Griffy's grotesquely swollen jaw.
Steve Sachs and his run-ins with the law.
We're talking Homer.
Ozzy and the Straw.
So, true story, my dog started barking when I started singing. That's how bad I am at this.
I think my kid just woke up.
But yeah, great song parody. Great song parody we've got there. Of course, again, it's, the real song is We're Talking Baseball. Famous song. I like this version better.
For sure.
Obviously.
For sure.
Although the version is the best of all. Come on.
Although in the original one, it does start off with the WizKids had won it, so I can throw that in there too.
Relatable.
Shameless self-promotion.
Yeah. That makes me like it even less.
Now, funnily enough, we never actually brought up Mike Scioscia's tragic illness that made us smile.
We forgot to talk about Scioscia, didn't we?
Oh, boo. Scioscia didn't get any more screen time. Who cares?
We had brought it up briefly.
Yeah, well, he got really into his job at the power plant, but unfortunately working with all that radiation ended up backfiring because, Scioscia ended up with radiation poisoning. And I love, he's like so honorable though, cause all he wants to do is play for the city championship.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, man. So upset.
Yeah, he only had a few days to live. I'll be surprised if you're alive by tomorrow.
Yeah, Smithers said that to Burns. Smithers is like, Mike Scioscia may not live through the night.
Now wait, was he in the picture?
Yeah, was Scioscia in the picture?
I'm trying to think. I don't know. He must have been. Yeah.
Well, it's your fucking fantasy profile pic. You look it up.
I could.
But yeah, that does bring us to the end of this absolute classic of an episode, Homer at the Bat. Wrassle Nerds, is there anything else that you wanted to bring up about this great episode?
I think we covered that and more.
I would like to see, we didn't point out that, this episode, as well as being probably my all-time favorite Simpsons episode, was one of Al Jean's, one of the, creators of The Simpsons. It was one of his top 5, favorite episodes as well. So
it's always cool when an episode makes one of the creators top 5 or top 10 lists.
Exactly. So really it's good.
Yeah, definitely. Goobs, anything else you want to add on top of that, brother?
I think we've said it all and then some, man.
Right on. Richie, how about that book of yours or yourself? Is there anything?
Bam!
Is there anything you or that Simpsons guide want to mention about this episode?
I did want to bring up the song at the end, Talking Softball, which is obviously a parody of, like you said, the song Talking Baseball. Both of them were actually sung by Terry Cashman. So the original song, which is in 1981, was sung by Terry Cashman. That's why in the credits, they were listed as a special guest in this episode, because they were the actual person that sang this song as well. So I thought that's cool.
That's neat that they got the original artist to do it. That's really cool.
Yeah. And then my book, The Simpsons, A Complete Guide to Our Favorite Family. It was pointed out that Smithers was wearing his ID badge on the baseball field, which is weird because he always wears his ID badge even outside of work. And on the Springfield Nuclear Power Plant bulletin board, if you guys noticed at the beginning of the episode, the poster showing how to do the Heimlich maneuver had the figure that was being Heimlich'd throwing up an entire lobster. So
yeah.
Gets that, yes.
That's awesome. Well, the last thing I want to mention, there's a pretty big milestone for this episode.
Milestone?
I think is nice.
I
think it's really cool that
rumor confirmed.
Always, yeah, always. I live in the cloud, brother. I live in the cloud.
You better not get that cloud hacked, brother.
This episode marked a first for The Simpsons that I think is so fitting, being it's such a great episode. And that is, as we've talked about in the past, The Simpsons ran against The Cosby Show at this time. And this was the very first time in which a brand new Simpsons episode went up against a brand new Cosby episode, and The Simpsons episode won.
Nice. Thank God.
They've beaten reruns in the past.
If he had his way, he would have did something to The Simpsons so they wouldn't show up for their show. Just saying, allegedly.
Yeah, I guess The Simpsons were pretty young back then, you're right.
Jeez. I thought I was pushing it with my comment.
Just quickly as
the line is a dot to me, sir. The line is a dot to me.
Just quickly as well, I will also say that every player was indeed in the team photo. Mike Sosha included, Homer, laying there, Ozzie Smith transparent in the background, Wade Boggs with a black eye, Roger Clemens still clucking away, and, Jose Canseco covered in, smoke and dust, and, Don Mattingly with a stupid haircut.
Very cool. Yeah. Very cool. Well, that's gonna do it for this week's Best Darn Diddly Review Show, but I would like to say a big thank you to the Wrassle Nerds, even though they fucked this up the first time, and somewhere in the middle of this episode we switched from the beginning of our actual conversation to the retake in which we had to come back and fix it. I'll let you figure that part out. Despite your fuckery, I really love you guys. You guys are awesome. We had so much fun talking to you, for real.
Yeah, we had a great time.
Yeah, great. You guys did win the fucking Simpsons or Best Darn Diddly lottery by these episodes that you got. I don't really, honestly, if I would have thought this out, I probably could have made a buck off of this.
We gotta do it twice.
But yeah, big thank you to both of you. Had a blast and definitely look forward to having you back on the show.
Awesome.
Tell us where they can find you on the internet. Tell them about your show. Tell them everything. All the Twitters and the Instagrams and the stuff.
Well, you can find us on your social medias, your Twitters, your Facebooks, your Instagrams, all at Wrassle Nerds. It's
WRASSLENERDS. Wrassle Nerds.
Ripken, how long did it take you to train him to spell that?
Don't even get me started, bro.
The name was fucking partially in both of our ideas. With my bad spelling and grammar, and kind of worked out.
But, yeah, you can find us on YouTube. That's really about it. Just, search Wrassle Nerds, like, subscribe, and comment and all that. You can follow me personally on Twitter at RipkenWN.
And you can follow my lard ass at GoobsWN.
And that's really about it.
About it, guys. That's great.
How much Canada did you guys have to spend to get the rights to that?
None at all. No Canada.
I ate a couple cans of Play-Doh.
God, dude,
they kinda don't need it.
Play-Doh cocks.
Alright, Rich. Again, nerds, we appreciate having you both on. We love you guys, and we had a blast talking to you.
Same here. Thank you.
Richie, is there anything that you would like to plug this week?
As always, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at thewiz_kid23. And while you're there, follow our show Twitter page, which is at Best Darn Diddly. That's DIDDLY. Again, guys, I know I said at the end of the last episode, but this was so much fun. Love you guys. I hope we could, it'd be fun if we could talk every week, cause it's just, I could take a break and I don't have to listen to Miles as much.
I'm not fucking editing. It's just not gonna happen.
Thank you for keeping him on his toes.
No problem.
Yeah, and up all hours of every night.
People more work than necessary.
24 hours a day just isn't enough, folks. But yeah. So again, I know this one got a little weird. We went a little out of order. We did the second half of this conversation last week. We Frankenstein this conversation, but we hope you enjoyed this episode very much. We will be back next week.
Far better episode.
a far better episode, because we are gonna not have these cats on the show. No, that's fucked up. That's mean. But no, we are going to have a good episode next week because we got a couple of other fucking just great episodes. This season is the season that keeps on giving, and I think that's gonna last for another 6 seasons. So this is a great time to be a Simpsons fan. Every episode is such a great episode. We get 2 more greats next week when we're back with our review of Dog of Death and Colonel Homer, which of course finds Homer managing a young country music singer who might think more of him than just manager. We'll have to see and find out.
One of our WNW characters is inspired by that country singer. Actually, it's funny.
Oh wow, that's rad. Yeah, plug that real quick.
Her name's Laura Lumford.
Laura Lumford.
She's a one-hit wonder. She became a wrestler afterwards and just fails at both.
Check out Wrassle Nerds Wrestling. It's part of our YouTube channel.
Number 9 will be coming out shortly. We're gonna keep banging these bitches out.
Yeah. They're just our.
We're talking about episodes, not the ladies, right?
All that.
That's her heart and soul.
So that's hilarious that's the next episode you're doing. That's great. Great opportunity for us to plug that in there.
How convenient is that? Well, don't know of a better way to end than there, folks, so we will see you next week.
Take care.
Toronto to DFW.